So good afternoon. I'll get onto this quickly because we want lots of time for questions. Thank you to Andrew and the organising committee for asking me along to talk about my favourite subject, which is healthy soil. I thought I'd start off with a bit of context. Here's some wonderful photos of unhealthy soil from around the world, including our own country last year. And this particular picture is becoming an iconic picture that describes how topsoil is lost from our country into the waters around our coasts after the big storms that we've been having. That's literally natural capital down the drain, completely unrecoverable. So we ignore soil sickness, if you like, at our peril. This is a picture from an FAO World Soils Day promotion a few years ago now, and it also focused on healthy soils for a healthy life, for human beings in particular. And you can see that there's a completely intimate relationship between the nutrients in the soil, the nutrients in plants, and the nutrients that we need to have healthy bodies. Effectively, we are soil. So what this infographic didn't talk about was the fact that the soil itself is a living system, and it's the organisms that live in the soil that perform the services to give us healthy soils, healthy plants, healthy us, healthy planet. So really delighted to speak to David about the new ELMS categories, which are spookily very much, as a soil scientist, I would have observed as soil functions, which are these. These are the 5 main soil functions. I won't go into each of them, but because we don't have much time, but please do take a picture and have a look again. And ecosystem services. Now, these functions of soils have been the focus of soil research for about a decade now. So we have some really great measurements of those services being delivered by soils in soils across the UK on farms. So we can be sure that these categories that David's talked about for the ELM scheme can be understood and can be measured and then perhaps paid for. So if we need to feed the biology in our soils, if we need to look after it in order to benefit from those public goods, then we need to understand as farmers what those organisms need. So this soil function, which is delivered by farmers, is the creation of a habitat for soil organisms. So no great shakes to understand that actually plants are really good for soil organisms. Most of them live in the hot spots of organic matter around the roots of plants. When the plants die, they make this organic matter, which contains all the dead stuff that used to be in the plants, so all of the nutrients which then can become available for plants, and carbon. So while carbon is in the soil, it forms a store of carbon to mitigate climate change, and of course that's one of the major aspects that we're learning about is important as a function of farming in this country and around the world. What else do bugs in the soil need? They need the things that we do effectively. They need oxygen, they need water, but not too much. They need a temperature range, which is very similar to what we like, between 15 and 30 degrees centigrade. And they also like a pH from neutral to slightly acidic, which is fine because that's what our crops in general need too. What they don't need is to have their home, which they create around them using the energy from soil organic matter, wrecked on a regular basis through tillage. And this is the fundamental basis for the no-till regeneration movement. What does a healthy soil look like? Well, again, we know what a healthy soil looks like. There are tools which you can easily access online and which relate to the visual evaluation of soil structure, which was developed at Scotland's Rural College. If you go online, you can download methods, you can download these instruction leaflets, and you can compare your soils to a gallery of soils which have been assessed using this. It probably won't surprise you that the key indicators are the friability of the soil, the aggregate shape and stability, soil porosity, the colour, which we know is related to carbon content, and also the plants underground tell us about our soil structure. Root length and distribution are absolutely key to understanding how our soils are functioning. Now, for my money, aggregate stability is incredibly important. Aggregates are effectively the home of soil organisms. They use carbon for energy to build them, and then use the nutrients to build them as well. These aggregates remain stable underwater, so this means that waterlogged soils maintain their structure, and in drought conditions, of course, the water held in the soil that's been able to percolate through the improved structure can help to support plants during drought. We forgot that last year actually we suffered from drought after this huge amount of water that we've had this year. Again, resources are widely available. This is a fantastic piece of, these photos are all from this West Country Rivers Trust online instruction guide of how to understand soils and how to use their structure to control flood management in particular. So we have the tools, we know how soils function to a great extent, we can measure change in soils, and this means that we can be rewarded for delivering those public goods by managing our soils. There's been some talk today. We're really excited about hosting the Climate Change Conference later this year, and also the Biodiversity Conference this year, which are global meetings. Let's look forward to 2022 when we have the World Congress of Soil Science, which is being hosted by the British Society of Soil Science in Glasgow. And I hope that some of you will be there to showcase the great work that you're doing on your farms to the rest of the world. Thank you very much.